Let's see here.
All right, restarting the feed here, and if you want to go ahead and let's start back up at the top of the stuff you should know.
Okay. Come on, Facebook. Why aren't you loading? We're back. We are back. We are live. Welcome to the Wake.Show. I'm Fisher with Jonny Torres. Let's get right to stuff you should know. President Donald Trump set off protests throughout the Middle East on Wednesday as he announced that America formally recognizes Jerusalem as Israel's capital city. He changed decades of U.S. policy in a brief afternoon speech and cast the move as a bid to preserve, not derail, aspirations for regional peace. But his speech was greeted by demonstrations and a threat from Hamas, who called Thursday and Friday days of rage.
What's a speech without a threat from Hamas?
Yeah.
I mean, is it even worth it?
No, not at all. If you're going to give a speech, you might as well tick them off. That he had opened the gates of hell. So we'll see on that. Judge is set to decide today if the parents of Hal Emanuel Donaldson III, Trey, who faces 4 counts of murder in the Seminole Heights slayings, must answer investigators' questions about their son. 20-year-old Florida man was responsible for the large data breach at Uber last year and was paid by Uber to destroy the data through a so-called bug bounty program normally used to identify small code vulnerabilities. 3 people familiar with the events have told Reuters. The reason that I brought this one up, because you know this was big news when it happened, is because it's just it's that please don't be Florida thing that happens when I'm doing research. And when you see the stories, you go, man, how the hell is Florida involved in this too?
It's a multinational corporation.
Sometimes I feel like Florida's the center of the crazy world. The NFL on Wednesday extended the contract of Commissioner Roger Goodell for another 5 years, ending an unusually rancorous month-long standoff with Jerry Jones, the Dallas Cowboys owner, who wanted to derail the deal. So it's a 5-year deal worth roughly $200 million.
Jesus. I wonder if he got that private jet for life he was asking for.
I wonder. But unlike his current agreement, nearly 90% of the potential compensation will be paid only if a variety of financial targets are met. Anyway, that's interesting, too, because, the NFL's in arguably its worst rough patch, since the beginning. And
it's a short contract, too.
5 years. But
that goes by quick, especially in that league.
So you could easily see, because revenue's down, all that stuff's down. You could easily see the owner's going, let's get somebody else in here. But somehow he was able to get $200 million out of him. Pollution wipes, but I guess it is going to be based on certain financial targets and stuff. So, pollution wipes out the benefits of walking. According to a new study, researchers found that the toxic air in built-up city centers prevents the positive effects on the lungs and heart, which are usually gained from exercise. Although the experiment was carried out in the over 60 crowd, the scientists say the effects could apply to other groups and have called for stricter air quality limits and greater access to green spaces. How about calling for more research first? I mean, I'm sure if an area is really polluted, you're out walking or jogging, you're probably, cancels each other out. But
well, that's what I'm saying. I always question these people because, especially around here, you got a lot of business people, right? Where this is a very industrial area. We're literally right next to the airport. Yeah. So you see these random people running around because nobody lives around here, and you have to wonder if, with all the pollution from the cars, from the planes and all that stuff, if they're really doing themselves any justice by going out and running.
Well, according to this study coming out of the UK, they're not. Time Magazine has announced its Person of the Year, and it's not Donald Trump. Its Person of the Year is the Silence Breakers. A reference to the women and few men who spoke out about sexual harassment, precipitating a remarkable moment of public accountability for people, almost all men, in positions of power and the country. We'll come back to that story here in a little bit later on in the show as well. And that is stuff you should know for Pearl Harbor Day. Coming up at 7:30. You know what? I need to write her. Give me her information again so I have it in front of me, please.
So I messaged you. It's in your Facebook Messenger. Right. She did say to give her a few minutes. So if we can make it short because I know we got Ed coming on too. So she has to come on at 7:40. So we'll just tap in. We'll just
because we can't. The reason that Ed was scheduled originally for 7:30 is because he has somewhere to be at 8 as well. So we can't push him back.
No, that's fine. And so we can just talk to her really quick. Okay. And basically the reason we're having her on, just to refresh everyone's memory from yesterday's show, is, of course, we had that police officer out in Eatonville over in Central Florida who was laid off because of...
and he was was one of the heroes that came out of the Pulse nightclub shooting last year, but ended up on desk duty, I guess PTSD, and something went down. We don't know yet, but they fired him. They terminated him with only 6 months left to go until he is fully vested, or whatever that's called, in his pension.
Right.
So we're trying to get to the bottom of that. And then Ed is coming on to do trivia at 7:45. And thank you so much for tuning in this morning. And you're wondering, man, you seem a little slow this morning, buddy. You on some Valium? You got a handful of Xanax in you? No. It's I got home from Park and Rec last night at about 1:45.
Yeah.
And I don't remember exactly what time I went to bed, but it takes me a little bit to wind down. So I'm assuming I fell asleep after 2:00. And the alarm was going off at 4:30 this morning.
Well, what's funny is that last week, because I'll go back and I'll watch the day's show, and Mike sits right next to me, and Mike's like, "Oh wow, Fisher looks really good." And I go, "Well, that's funny because he's running on about 3 hours sleep."
I always said my best shows, because back in the day when I was on the radio, I'd have a Wednesday night happy hour gig. Now that's different because that ended like at 7.
Sure.
So I mean, I didn't end necessarily at 7 all the time, but I'd still be in bed at a reasonable time.
Right.
But there would be some drinking the night before, and so like Thursday mornings, my voice would always be way down here. All right, so let's hit a couple of things before we get to our guesses. Hey, if I fell asleep, hold on a second before we get into this. This is how tired I was this morning. I fell asleep putting together stuff you should know.
Yeah.
My wife comes out of the room, and she's usually not up this early, 6:05, and I'm usually on the road already, at least 5 minutes at 6:05. And she didn't notice, but I had I was sleeping when she came out. It was like her coming out of the room woke me up with my computer in my lap, just sitting here like this. She's like, "You're still here?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, just wrapping up stuff you should know." And closing my computer and running out the door.
Like when you get busted for sleeping in the class.
Yeah, that's what it felt like.
Like a panic there.
For 1 second, you don't know where you are. What am I doing? Where am I?
See, I tend to nod off after the show. And so,
during the show,
I'll be downstairs at my desk getting the day's work started, and I'll just be, it hits me. 10, 11 o'clock, and I start crashing.
Well, yeah. So, after the show, I'll be here to do some, cleanup work or whatever. But I'll be out of here by, 10, 11 o'clock, 10:30.
Yep.
But John, he works here at Bake More Pies, and his day is just beginning when we get off the air in the morning. He'll still be here at 5, 6, 7 o'clock at night doing the work that the work that he's getting paid for.
That's right.
All right. So, what do you think about this time of the time person of the year? They do this.
So I think this was a fake, right? This was a fake that was put out there, but anyhow, in regards to the Silence Breakers, I think it's the obvious choice. I think this, again, I don't think have still reached the mountaintop on this story. I think there's going to be more to come out. We were talking briefly just before the show, Al Franken resigning later today at 3 o'clock due to additional allegations that have come out. I think we're up to like 7 or 8.
Wow.
So by all indications, he'll be resigning this afternoon. And now we're also hearing rumblings about the police department in California that took Corey Feldman's testimony about some of the child predators or child abuse that was happening in Hollywood. They magically found his cassette tape where he had, of the deposition he gave, or
years ago, or
years ago.
Okay,
like this will be Corey Feldman, 1980s.
Oh, okay.
And now they magically found this cassette tape, but they're being really hesitant to put it out. And that's going to be the interesting part. Anyways, point being, I think, it's well-deserved. I think this is going to be the story, I think, even well into next year. I do have a slight issue with Ashley Judd, only because for someone who came out so hard against Trump and came out so hard, really railed on him, right, for a lot of the things he said and allegedly did, in regards to sexual harassment and that sort of thing. Like, she totally went softball on Harvey Weinstein to the point saying that I love him and he's like a brother and like I hope he gets help and and then just took the complete opposite approach.
Well, that's what happens when you know the person.
Sure.
That's what happens. If you don't know the person and these allegations come out, then you can automatically put them in the monster category. Yep. But if you've known a person for forever, you got a close relationship with them, and you've seen different sides of them, because that's the thing. We on our end, all the allegations for Harvey Weinstein. Well, then because I don't know the guy, I've never met him, I've never even seen him talk. But the image that I have in this is like a movie villain predator. But the reality is, you probably, if you're with the guy for years, you probably saw a lot of philanthropic, nice, gestures, da. I'm sure a lot of those things were a part of him as well. And it's like the parents of this guy Trey, this Howell.
Sure.
The Seminole Heights killer. They don't want to talk. Because they know their son and that's their baby, and in their head, they can't reconcile what he has done, the monster that he is. But it's going to be interesting to see if they change. You and I talked about this a little bit yesterday. To see if they come around on this.
Well, once the adrenaline comes down, once a lot of the, there's always going to be emotion involved in this for them. But I think once reality sets in as to whether or not he did this for them in their eyes, I think that'll determine whether or not they're cooperative. You would hope that a judge wouldn't have to come in and force them to cooperate or hold them in contempt for not cooperating. That would be unfortunate, and you can only hope that they kind of see the greater good and decide to speak out, regardless of whether or not the information that they have is relevant to the case.
What kind of parent are you going to be one day? Would you be the parent? Because this is the terminology that their lawyer threw out there.
Yeah.
Are you the kind of parent that would rat out your son? Rat out your child?
Sure. It goes back to the neighborhood, snitches get stitches, and that's what they're trying to perpetuate.
Yeah. I was raised differently, and I'd probably be like, because my mom and I remember we'd had this discussion, my teen years or something like that.
Look, to me, that's the deal breaker. If my daughter
murdered somebody,
sure, that's it. Look,
right.
Hey, what do I need? What do you need? What do you need to know?
I can picture your little 2-year-old. Your little 2-year-old caught, you're red-handed, literally with blood on her hands and a knife in him. Well, honey, you clearly did it.
Yeah, you're 2, but somehow I have a feeling
you clearly did it. So, I think I would not disavow my child. I'd still love my child, and I'd visit them in prison, but I would not try to protect them or, to shield them from, law enforcement. Let's get back to the Time Magazine Person of the Year.
Yep.
Because this was interesting coming from the Washington Post. No American woman has won Time Magazine's Person of the Year by herself in more than 80 years.
Wow.
Jeez.
And we've had remarkable women.
I guess not.
Yeah. Well, what kind of irks me, and I'm glad to kind of see them change a little bit, but they always seem that lately it seems that they've been on this trend to make it the most controversial person of the year. And so they've, and obviously that drives magazine sales and that drives, but that seemed to be the theme. It wasn't like who was the most deserving. It was like basically who was the most controversial figure that's going to help us sell magazines.
So over the course of the 91 years that the magazine has proffered the title, in fact, only one has done so. Wallace Simpson. Even know that name?
No.
Doesn't even sound like a woman's name, Wallace. Who earned the title in 1936 thanks to her relationship.
Imagine their surprise.
With King Edward VIII, the relationship which eventually led to his giving up the throne. So the woman that makes it into as Person of the Year in 1936 is a mistress.
Yeah.
That's what she was famous for?
Pretty much.
Mistress that brought down a king. The next time an American woman was named Person of the Year, or at that time, Man of the Year, to the exclusion of any man was in 1975. The winner of that title was American Women. Women. So it wasn't a person. It was kind of like what they did here.
Just overall American women.
Before that, American women were included in the winning group twice. First when the Inheritor won in 1966, apparently a reference to baby boomers.
So go ahead.
And then in 1969 when Middle Americans did.
Yeah, and there was another one recently, wasn't it? Like millennials, or it was like us, or something.
Yes,
very broad and generic.
Like within the last few years.
Yeah.
On Wednesday, the magazine announced its 2017 winner, as you've probably heard, the Silence Breakers, a reference to women and a few men who spoke out about sexual harassment, participating in a remarkable moment of public accountability from almost all men in a position of power.
Well, and again, I think I think it's fantastic that this is happening. I think we need this to happen, right? This is something that, as a country, as a society, as a culture, like we need to go through this. And I think we're still quite a ways away. I wouldn't be surprised if a year from now we're still talking about this kind of stuff. That being said, I think we're going to need to find boundaries.
I think that's what happens.
Definition,
right?
As to what is harassment, what is abuse, what is
Yeah. So is this going to lead to no flirting in the workplace? Period. Like, don't even. Was it you that were saying the other day that somebody walked in that you hadn't seen in a while that is a coworker but doesn't work here in the building?
Yeah, she works here at the company, but she doesn't physically work here. She works remotely.
And your inclination was to go, "Hey, oh my, you look great. Your hair, whatever." You're saying something about her hair, or the way she was dressed.
Just even the very first greeting, it's like I didn't know whether it was okay for me to go in for a hug or a handshake, or it was just for 2 seconds. It was just really awkward. And again, this is someone who generally is very approachable and very nice and friendly, and it was just in my mind, anyways. I don't know her perception of that situation.
Probably didn't even register.
But in my mind, I went through like half a dozen scenarios as to how to handle this, and it was just incredibly awkward.
So that's what's happening now, and you're right. There's going to have to be some boundaries that are defined, but I think that's what's going to come out of all this, because you're not the only one. I think you're in offices all around the country.
Yeah,
you're having the same thing happen. Yeah, and I know a lot of people are getting frustrated, or they're angry, or they immediately throw up their hands and go, "Rah, rah, rah, rah." But this is just part of the process, and we'll come out, and hopefully we come out the other side of this a little bit more civil.
Well, and this is what also I think concerns me about all of this is that, again, so maybe you do have a friendly relationship, maybe a little closer relationship than most with someone in your office who happens to be, it doesn't even have to be of the opposite sex, right? But let's say it is. And things go awry. Who's to say that person then can't turn some of that interaction as harassment? He used to hug me a little too much, whenever I'd see him in the office, or he used to make disparaging remarks, or used to, things that, again, you would do with a friend, but then maybe that friendship went south, and now they have all this history that they could leverage against you.
What Wi-Fi am I supposed to be connected to? Is it the Netgear one or one of the BMP ones?
The Netgear 5G-1.
It took forever for the messenger to pop up, which it finally did just here.
Yeah.
Because then I'll have to.
Yeah, make sure you're on the right Wi-Fi. That might be some of the issues we were having.
You said Netgear 95G. That should be right.
5G-1.
Oh, down here.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be so awesome if that helps solve some of my problems. So we're going to dial her in here in just a couple of seconds. All right, good morning once again. Welcome to the Wake.Show. Thank you so much for all the support here early on. A lot of great compliments.
Yeah, you were saying you got some people, was it at karaoke, or was it online, or what?
I remembered. I was telling him that, somebody was complimenting the show. They were watching, and one of those things, like my brain's trying to figure out where it was. It was before I went to Park and Rec. I got a haircut, and it's Lisa Daniels who does my hair, and Pure Platinum. I've been going to her since the early.
Excuse me.
By
the way, Pure 2000s. Platinum does not sound like a hair salon, but that's okay.
It sounds like a strip club.
It sure does.
Actually, no. It's just Platinum. Platinum hair salons. Pure Platinum
doesn't help.
Pure Platinum is a strip club in Orlando. You're 100% right about that. Pure Platinum is a strip club in Orlando. So the name of the place is Platinum. Anyway, no, she's saying
still sounds like a strip club.
She says in the morning because she goes in early. We'll have clients that are coming in at 7:00, and so she'll fire up the show and have it there while she's cutting hair.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and some compliments there. And then I saw on my Facebook page.
We should do maybe a contest where if someone takes a picture of themselves watching the show, then we can put them in a little bank to give something away.
That's not a bad idea. All right, so I have to wait. Am I going to have to look her up on Facebook? Right.
So she's in that chat group that I sent you last night. So you should.
Okay, that's right. You already set it up. That's right. Yeah. You already set it up. So, should we just go ahead and message her right now and see if she's ready?
Just do an audio call, not a video call, because I think she's going to be driving this morning.
Okay, that's fine. Kelly, are you ready?
I hope so.
Or should I just fire her up?
No, give her a few more minutes.
Okay. Because then right after her, we're going to go to Ed Gruby and do some trivia. I hope I beat you. I don't know that I can. I don't know that I have. I hope that I beat you. This is for those of you that have been following me for quite some time. The F&K with Jesse Cage and Ed Gruby. We used to do we called it beer versus balls.
Okay.
And so how sometimes you use your name as your buzzer, right? So he's asking you a trivia question. You yell out John, I'd yell out Fisher or Chris or whatever.
Right.
And whoever got in first gets to answer the question.
Correct.
Well, instead of doing that, I don't remember how it came to be, but it was beer versus balls. Jesse would yell out beer, and I would yell out balls.
Okay.
And
I probably just because it's funny.
Yeah, well, there's a backstory to it.
Is,
for those people that watch the F&K, they remember. I'll tell you real quickly. The first episode we did of the F&K, in the beginning there, it was a video. Was it live? I think we did it live. I can't remember. But it was all video, a full stage, set up, and everything. And instead of being behind a desk like this, we were kind of out in the open. We had something between us and just sitting in the chair. Well, the first pair of shorts, I guess, kind of were nut huggers. I'm not really nut huggers, just the way that I was sitting.
Yeah,
my package was just huge as day, the whole time, and so that became like a thing. The very first show, and then after that, that's where balls came from.
History. It was
right.
History after that.
So then what happens? This is the fun part of the game because you're like
Kelly's
whatever.
Ready, by the way. What number?
Okay. What was I getting ready to say? Sorry. The fun part of the game is whoever loses would have to sing the loser song. Ed would fire up a random track, just instrumental, and I mean sometimes you don't even know the song, like some EDM shit,
Sure.
And then you'd have to make up on the spot the loser song, which would sing the praises of the person that won. So we're gonna try to pull that off here in a little bit. So now with Kelly here.
Yeah, try to do the audio, just the audio. So you might have to do it through the other window, through the little.
Yeah, because
if you pull up the chat window, like through there, yeah.
There we go. But if I hit start because he has to start a group call.
Yeah, that's fine. It'll ring me, but
okay. Can I take you off of it? Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
I can do it like that. All right, we'll give it a go here. Art International?
Art International, yeah. Says it's ringing.
I think so. It says contacting. We'll pull her up here in just a second. And then coming up, we'll do that trivia game.
Yeah.
John versus.
Looking forward to it.
Now I was thinking about this because I'm like, maybe you use our names as our buzzer.
Yeah.
But I don't. I think I'd use Chris instead of Fisher because I feel like if it was a tie, you would win it because of the j would register louder and quicker than f.
Hello.
Hey, Kelly.
Hi. Hold on 1 second. I can barely hear you guys.
That's all right. Hello. Check test 1 2 1 2.
Yes.
Is that better?
Yes. I had to turn the volume up on my phone.
Good morning, Kelly Breeding from Art International. How are you this morning?
I'm good.
Good. Well, welcome to the Wake.Show.
Hey, Kelly, thank you so much again for joining us. Of course, full disclosure, you are a client of Bake More Pies here for Art International, which ART stands for Accelerated Response Therapy, right?
Resolution therapy.
Resolution therapy. I'm sorry.
Yeah, let's talk about this. It's a very interesting. Yesterday, when Jonny brought it up, we were talking about PTSD, and he goes, "Well, the people that we're going to have on tomorrow, it's just PTS. They dropped the D. They dropped the disorder part of this."
Well, no, not officially.
Okay.
I would say that if you look at the DSM-5, which is the Diagnostic Statistics Manual, which is what all mental health and psychological disorders are diagnosed from, it is still, technically considered a disorder. I would say that the movement within the mental health community is that post-traumatic stress is more of a symptom of an occurrence that has happened in somebody's life rather than a psychological disorder. But if you were to look in the clinical terms within the DSM-5, which is kind of like the mental health Bible, it is still considered a disorder, but there's been a lot of movement towards removing that piece of it, because it really is just, it's not something that you're born with. It is something that is directly related to an occurrence in your life. So it's a symptom, and as we feel at Art International, symptoms can be treated, and we really feel that there are significant and successful treatments for post-traumatic stress.
Is the movement to drop the disorder part of this? Is that a scientific movement, or is that more? It has to do with the stigma. So
it has more to do with the stigma
Okay.
and within the mental health community. I mean, I think that it takes years to get things in the DSM changed and reviewed. First of all, reviewed and changed, and they, in the 30, 40 plus years that we've been using this manual, there's only been 5 volumes of it. So
Okay.
that just shows how slowly things like that change. It's more of a, the mental health environment, the community, and how we're trying to change the stigma that's related to mental health issues with people, because, it definitely has a negative connotation to it, and we don't want people to feel that, there's anything wrong with them. It's a symptom of something that occurred in their life.
And when it comes to post-traumatic stress, this is something that we have known about for 100 years, and George Carlin used to do a bit on it. Back in the day, it was called shell-shocked. You were shell-shocked. And then it was called this, and then it was called that. Even though we've known about this for a long time, we still don't know, or we're just now learning really, how the brain, or what's happening in the brain, right? We're just really starting to get to the bottom of PTSD.
I think so. I think people are becoming more aware of it. I think that a lot of people look at PTSD and they immediately relate it to military and combat type scenes. And within that community, there's always been a stigma related to admitting a sign of weakness, or that there's something wrong with them, that they're not performing at their optimal level. So it's always been kind of brushed under the rug. I think that the emergence of technology and social media and our direct and immediate access to news and everything, I think it's created a platform for more trauma to be exposed. I think it's created a platform for people to speak about it and to feel, to kind of create a little bit of movement behind it. But yeah, it's always been there. We work with veterans of all war eras, and I can tell you that, my Vietnam veterans are the ones who are kind of the hardest to get to. They're the hardest nuts to crack, to say it in a funny way. But, these guys, mental health wasn't even a part of the military community until, I don't even know, maybe 15, 20 years ago. And it's still something that is very, very hush. And, we work with a lot of special forces guys, and the last thing they're going to do is admit that they're struggling to an officer who is a mental health clinician on their base. So it's a very interesting place to be, and you have to be very, very careful in how you speak to people and talk to them about it, because it's a delicate situation. And even in the civilian community, I think there's just as much of a stigma attached to mental health disorders and diagnoses. That's why we're really trying to push away from this idea of it being a disorder and a symptom of something.
And Kelly, we don't have a lot of time left with you, but you at Art International, you have a slightly different approach or a groundbreaking approach to the way that you're treating PTSD, right?
Correct. Yeah. So what we do with PTSD and what you can learn about post-traumatic stress is that when somebody experiences a traumatic experience, your body immediately goes into a fight or flight type of situation. And that creates, the ability to flee from a situation. When the majority of people who go through a traumatic experience will, have a short-term reaction to something like that. But then the small amount of people that experience post-traumatic stress, their bodies remain kind of in that hypervigilant state. And so what we do with the ART is we utilize rapid eye, meditative eye movement. So kind of recreating the movement of rapid eye movement when your eyes are moving back and forth to help process out that physiological response that happens when you think about this memory. And once you're able to remove the physiological response that your body has immediately, it creates a space for the person to want to move forward and working through the problem that had happened, so that they can, continue to live their life with, quality life with this memory that has happened, but that's not going to kind of create this physiological response that shuts them down.
I definitely want to have you back on the show. Again, this is very fascinating, and it's a topic that is not going anywhere anytime soon. Yeah. So if people need to, if they want to learn more about your organization, where can they track you down?
They can go to our website, which is www.artherapyinternational.org.
All right. Thank you, Kelly Breeding. Have a great day.
Thanks so much.
All right. Bye-bye. That is fascinating stuff.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it's one of those things. It's a blessing and a curse. We have a lot going on today in terms of a show, and we couldn't have her on a little longer. Of course, we wanted to talk to her a little bit about the police officer over in Eatonville, and really how does PTSD kind of factor into workplace protections, right? Because again, it's seeming like he was dismissed not only for his PTSD, but also for potentially being up for his pension.
Right. So definitely want to learn more about that. We're going to bring in Ed Gruby now from Events Done Right. A lot of you guys know Ed from Wild 98.7, Wild 94.1. He's there for years. I still think he does part-time over there with him. But this is who I do all the trivia through, Events Done Right. So he's going to come on and be our...
Spell his last name for me?
Grube, Gruby. Come on, Ed. Come on, buddy. You can do it. I just text him and said we'll be messaging you here in a second. I wonder if... Hold on a second here, bud.
Grube, right?
Grube. Open up your Facebook Messenger. I'm trying to call you.
Well, in all fairness, I have an advantage here, which is that you have had very little sleep, and I've had a little more sleep.
Well, that's that's what I'm going to hang my hat on. Let's try it again. Yeah, so if I lose this thing, that's all. That's what I'm going with. I didn't have my wits about me. If I lose it, if we have him on again and I lose it, then no excuses.
No excuse.
And by the way, there he is. Good morning.
Hello.
I know you got to get running. We don't have a lot of time with you. We got to get you on and off in 10 minutes or less.
This should be lovely.
Maybe we should do five
I
questions.
literally just woke up.
How you doing this morning, Ed?
Good. How you guys doing?
Good. I'm very excited. How's the audio on his end?
You can bring him up a little more.
All right. I'm very excited. We're starting a new trivia night tonight at Masteries out of Blind Pass. That'll be 7 o'clock. And giving away prizes, all that kind of stuff. But so I thought I'd bring in the trivia master himself, Ed Gruby, like we did on the F&K, and have a little fun with some trivia here. So we're going to use our names as our buzzer. And
sounds good.
I'm going to go with Chris instead of Fisher. His name is John, but the reason I'm going with Chris is because of the hard in the beginning, so you can hear me.
Okay.
All right, because I think if there's a f there, it was a tie, you would think that John got in first, and that would piss me off.
All right.
So,
we don't want that.
Okay, so 10 questions.
Yep.
And then whoever loses, we'll get Ed off the phone because he's got stuff to do.
Okay.
But we'll do the loser song.
All right.
You're good. Kids are already fed, so I'm
Now
good.
it's going to be really embarrassing if I lose because I've had more sleep than you.
All right, so we'll see how it goes. Oh, Park and Rec went well last night. There was nobody there like the first hour, but then we rocked it. So,
Awesome.
all right,
Good to hear.
boss man. All right, question number 1. Here we go.
All right, here we go. First question. In God We Trust is the motto for which country?
Chris.
I forgot to say my name. Damn it. All right, go ahead.
The United States of America.
Yep, that's correct.
All right, 1 point for me.
All right, next question. You guys keeping track of this?
I'm looking for right. One for me. Here we go. Keep it on my hands.
Pen, but no
What are we
paper.
playing to the first team to what?
No, I guess we're just going to go through the 10 questions and then a bonus if
Gotcha.
a sudden death one. Here we go.
All right.
10
here we
questions.
go.
Which one of Santa Claus's reindeer would come first alphabetically?
Johnny, Blitzen.
That's correct.
Damn, good
Yeah.
job. 1-1.
Number 3, which 2012 movie had the same name as a classic combat board game made by Hasbro?
Johnny, Battleship.
That's correct.
Damn.
Damn, he's stumping you, and you're a trivia master.
Just because I can read trivia questions doesn't mean I retain them.
Number 4, in the following sentence, how many words are examples of alliteration? Here we go, ready? Proud, Percival, pranced precariously across the prickly prairie.
Chris. 6.
That's correct.
All right, 2-2.
All right, here we go. Number 5. What was the approximate population of Mexico in 2000?
Chris.
Well, I was going to give you options.
Go. Damn it.
No,
You're right.
You gotta
Well, this
go
is
now.
part of the rules going back. If you cut them off too early, then you don't get the rest of the question.
Yeah.
So I have to take a stab at it now.
Jeopardy rules. I like
Son of a. Let's go with 50 million.
No. John, would you like a chance at this with actually options?
Please.
Son of a.
All right. 20 million, 80 million, or 120 million?
I'll go with 80 million.
Incorrect.
Yay! Still tied to a piece. Next.
Hey! Sound like Jim Florentine.
Next
All right, here we
question.
go. How many holes are found on most golf courses?
Chris. 18.
Correct.
Damn it.
What was the name of the time machine inventor from the Back to the Future movie series?
Chris.
Johnny.
Chris got in right before.
Damn it.
That was Doc.
Yeah. Dr. What?
Oh, that's my favorite movie.
That was Doc.
You're going to blow
Dr.
it.
Doolittle, Dr. Shivago.
No, it was it wasn't Doc Holliday. I don't remember.
Dr. Strange. There's
All right.
a lot of doctors.
Go ahead, John. I can't think of his name.
Doc Brown.
Doc Brown, son of a.
Dr.
That's
Emmett
correct,
Brown.
Dr. Brown. You know, just to let you know, we do the same thing in trivia too. People come up if we ask, like, who's the lead actress on, Friends or something, and they just put Jen. You know what I mean? It's like, Jen who?
All right.
Here we go. Speaking
Dr.
of
Emmett Brown.
Jens, which singer, known for Your Body is a Wonderland, also had messy breakups with celebs such as Jennifer Aniston, Taylor
Chris,
Swift,
Johnny.
and more?
I always forget you can cut him off. I was waiting for the end of the question.
That would be John Mayer.
That's correct.
4-3.
That's my favorite artist. He's hitting all my favorite questions.
Number 4, the Roman numeral XCV, so that's X, C as in Charlie, V as in Victor, is which number?
Chris. Let's go with 550.
Here, I'll take a stab at it. 100 and XCV, 155. Damn it.
You guys
What?
give up?
Yeah.
It's 95.
Son of a.
I was close.
All right.
Could have been closest to the pin.
And number 5, which organ at the end of the trachea contains the vocal cords?
Chris. The esophagus.
Johnny, larynx.
That's correct.
Damn it. All right, so we're tied 4-4. Whoever gets this next one right is the
Yeah.
winner.
All right, let me pause.
Hold on. Please, let me get this right.
You're doing good. I thought I was going to do a little better, but I'm a rookie, so.
All right, here we go. Last one.
And by the way, can I just say something?
Yes.
Usually my buzzer is a lot more entertaining, but since it's 7:55 in the morning and I literally rode out of bed 12 minutes ago, my buzzer's like,
It's good. It's a good buzzer.
All right, here we go. Ready? How many oceans surround Canada?
Chris. 3.
Nailed it.
Damn it.
All right.
Awesome. Good job.
That was good.
Thank you so much.
That was fun.
Thank you, Ed. I appreciate it. Now,
No problem. And tonight, Mastery's Brewing Company, the brand new trivia spot.
That's right. We're gonna have to have.
What kind of a place is that? What would?
It's a brewery. There's no food.
Okay.
There's food across the street. Pizza and stuff like that.
Sure.
But it's a brew pub and a really cool place in Blind Pass. So.
Nice.
All right, Ed. I'll talk to you.
See you guys later.
All right. Bye bye.
Thanks, man.
Whoo, there we go, man. I feel pretty good. Pretty good about that. So now I got to bring up some karaoke.
And I'm pissed because I'm like the biggest John Mayer fan, and for you to have stolen that question really gets under my skin.
Well, that's awesome, because then what I'll do then is I'll bring up a John Mayer track. How about that?
Oh boy!
But here's the thing. We talked about this.
Yeah.
You were not singing the lyrics to the song.
No, I got to make up the lyrics.
Right, and praise my smarts, my abilities, my talents. Okay.
Oh boy!
So here we go. So.
Oh, of course you would.
Don't look at the words; it'll mess you up. Here we go.
Hey Fisher, you got no sleep, and here I thought I'd creep into your trivia, but sure enough, you pulled it off, and I can't think of anything that rhymes with off. You are the trivia master, at least twice a week. Your gray hair and your blue eyes are totally distracting and an advantage in a trivia game.
And that's the loser's song. Well done. Good job. And unless you want some more. I'll listen.
We do need to come back to that song and sing it for reals, but
okay.
not today.
We can come back at the end of the show and do it, because we're going to run out of material real quick.
We front-loaded our interviews.
Yep, I definitely I'm feeling rough this morning. Welcome to the Wake.Show. Thank you so much for sharing and being a part of this. We're very excited around here, and things are going very, very, very well. And it's a good time to be. I don't know. I'm just babbling right now. Let's get to some of the stuff.
Well, let's talk again. We formally, I guess, announced our website. Because now it's up and running. It looks good. It's working great. We're slowly going to be adding features to it. We're going to be adding every episode will be posted on the website independently, but there'll also be a playlist that you can watch. You'll also be able to catch all the interviews that we've done. That's already up there if you want to go to the Wake.Show.
Do you know
not.com.show.
Do you know if can we encode our live our show every morning? So when we go live, it automatically pops up the website. So technically, what I'm asking, could people watch and listen through the website?
So yes, but not doing it through Facebook. So it's going to come hand in hand from when we start broadcasting or simulcasting on YouTube. Once we start simulcasting on YouTube, we'll be able to embed a live broadcast window on the website where people can actually watch it through the website. Unfortunately, Facebook doesn't have that feature yet.
All right, so that is coming soon to the Wake.Show. And like you said, it's not the Wake.show.com. It's the Wake.Show.
Yeah, and at the bottom, if you go all the way to the bottom, you'll find our contest entry form. And so we're working on lining up a few things. As a matter of fact, we do Bake More Music, partnered with the Gasparilla Music Festival. So I'm going to be hitting up those guys for a couple of general admission tickets. I think we'll give those away next week.
We'll get to stuff you should know coming up here in about 5 minutes. But this is an interesting story. Largo is a town here in the Bay Area, is giving away a business and property to a person who writes the best essay. Now, this guy is the owner of a hydroponic gardening store in Largo. He's giving away his 25-year-old business to the person who writes the best 250-word essay expressing why they're most worthy. That's the building, the land, the website, and the inventory, according to the Facebook page for Simply Hydroponics and Organics. The catch is that it'll cost you $100 to enter.
Huh.
So
that's clever.
Well, is it? Is it
it's
clever?
Sneaky.
I mean, is he thinking this is going to be a moneymaker? Hey, because I'll get 1,000 people out there that try.
Well, where does the money go?
I was going to him.
Oh, okay.
I would imagine. The owner, Alan Bednar, 78, has spent the last quarter century building something more than a business, and now that he's ready to move into the next phase of his life, he wants to find an individual who'll be an amazing steward of what he's built. I want to make sure our customers will still be taken care of in the same way. After all these years, many of them are like family, and we feel the same about our staff. We've tried to create something that betters the community, he said. Knowing that there's so many brilliant, good, and talented people struggling to make their dreams a reality, they see this as an opportunity to bless at least one person with a dream come true. And you have until March 15th to submit your 250-word essay.
It's a cool gimmick. I actually would have an interesting idea for that space, but it's one of those things.
Oh, you would come in and tear it down?
No. I'd keep it the way it is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But
I think it's a pretty clever gimmick. I mean, obviously he's getting some free press out of it, but good for him.
He says that the top 25 essays will be judged by. You think there'll be 25 essays?
Yes. I don't know if he'll get much more than that, but I think he'll at least hit 25.
Okay. Will be judged by 3 amazing impartial judges. Friends and family of the owners and judges are not eligible, according to the rules listed on their website. That's something.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know what to do with a gardening. There's the picture of it right there.
Well, you don't have to keep it the same business, right?
No, well, he wants you to. He's not giving it to you so you can turn it into whatever you want, because he said he wants the clients that he's built over the last 25 years to be taken care of. He wants his staff, because there's staff there as well. He says they're like family, so I think we want somebody that's in this industry already, or is always knows their stuff, not somebody like me and you that goes, hey, well, I'll just apply a standard business model to whatever it is they got going on here, and it'll work.
Well, I mean, hydroponics and recreational marijuana right around the corner. I mean, that alone should motivate quite a bit of people.
Now I'm thinking there might be 1,000 people that that go out for this thing or try to get this thing.
So real quick, want to check in with everybody who's watching. Thank you to everybody for watching. Please give us a like and a share if you don't mind. Good morning to Lisa. Lisa says it's worth the investment for a chance. So Lisa might jump in to the pot there. Jessica,
is that saying, Lisa Kraft or Lisa Daniels?
Kraft.
Good morning, Lisa Kraft.
Jessica Ailing, saying she just noticed that Rant Baby has his own microphone now. That is accurate.
What'd she call it?
Rant Baby, which is perfect.
Rant Baby, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I pulled out something else this morning, but I didn't bring it. It's an autographed photo of Chewbacca.
Oh, nice.
Would that be something you want back here? I don't know.
And then, you know what I realized last night is we have a Cam Parker print sitting downstairs in a conference room. We need to put it up here.
Yeah, definitely. Was it one of the ones that he brought in that day?
No, It's a Han Solo sketch or painting, or I don't know what and it says Rebel underneath. It's pretty cool.
I love it.
You can find it on his website, and I went on his Etsy account, and he's got like 20 different prints that you can buy from him. One of them is now the infamous Lady Gaga mural, now available for purchase on Cam's Etsy account.
Well, let's get to stuff you should know for Thursday, December 7th. Stuff you should know we're trying to pull off every day about 7:05 and 8:05.
Oh, by the way, Tom Robinson was asking, when do we start on YouTube? The goal will be for Monday.
Oh, wow.
I'll make it happen Monday.
Holy crap.
Yeah, we have the account. We have the stuff to do it. We just haven't set it up. So
okay.
I'll get it set up today or tomorrow and then test it. And then maybe we go live on YouTube on Monday.
President Donald Trump set off protests throughout the Middle East on Wednesday as he announced that America formally recognizes Jerusalem as Israel's capital city. He changed decades of U.S. policy in a brief afternoon speech and cast the move as a bid to preserve, not derail, aspirations for regional peace. Well, yeah. But his speech was greeted by demonstrations and a threat from Hamas, who called Thursday and Friday days of rage, and that Trump had opened the gates of hell. A judge is set to decide today if the parents of Howell Emanuel Donaldson III, otherwise known as Trey, who faces 4 counts of murder in the Seminole Heights slaying, must answer investigators' questions about their son. I was thinking, obviously it's not the same, but there's that law where you don't have to testify against your spouse. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I forget what that is. I'm sure it's Latin. But you would think... You would think
this would apply?
Yeah, you would think the same thing would apply to...
The attorney might try that angle.
Well, I haven't read anything about that angle, so it obviously doesn't. It's not a thing. A 20-year-old Florida man was responsible for that large data breach at Uber last year. That's the only reason we're bringing this up, because that story, that data breach is old. It's done. But to find out that it was somebody from the state of Florida, of course.
Well, and this is a 20-year-old kid.
Yeah, and then the story, the story part of the story now is he was also paid by Uber to destroy the data through a so-called bug bounty program normally used to identify small code violations, or vulnerabilities, rather. 3 people familiar with the events have told Reuters.
Well, the bigger story is also that they kind of kept this quiet for years. That's the real big story, is that they had this data breach, didn't announce it, and I think it's probably been about 3-4 years.
The NFL on Wednesday extended the contract of Commissioner Roger Goodell for another 5 years, ending in an unusually rancorous months-long standoff with Jerry Jones, the owner of the Dallas Cowboys, who tried to derail it. A committee of owners negotiated the compensation, signed off on a contract worth roughly $200 million over 5 years, which is in line with his current deal. But unlike his current arrangement, nearly 90% of the potential compensation is tied to a variety of financial targets. Pollution wipes out the benefits of walking, says a new study. Researchers found that the toxic air and built up in city centers around the world prevents the positive effects on the lungs and heart, which are usually gained from exercise. Although the experiment was carried out on people that were in their 60s, over 60, the scientists say the effect could apply to other groups. Time magazine has announced its Person of the Year, and its Person of the Year is the Silence Breakers. It's a reference to the women and a few men who spoke out about sexual harassment, precipitating a remarkable moment of public accountability for people, almost all men, in positions of authority, of power in this country. And that is stuff you should know for today. All right, that's it. I'm going home. That's it. That's all I got.
You done?
That's all I got of me this morning. Yeah, waking up, man. This morning, my eyes were bleeding. And like I was saying earlier, I was on the couch, putting together stuff you should know. And when my wife walks out, if my wife is awake and I'm still at the house, then I know I'm late. And it's because I had dozed off. I was sitting there. I mean, it was one of these mornings, too, where I'm looking at the computer one-eyed. I'm doing like this and trying to do this and trying to keep my eyes open and, put together stuff you should know. And she comes out. She goes, "You still here?" "Huh? What? No, walking out the door," because she woke me up. Yeah.
Oh, boy.
But can I say something?
Yeah.
Did you know there wasn't a second in my head that I thought about calling off?
Really?
There wasn't a second.
That's awesome.
There wasn't a second where I went, man, I wonder, because the way I felt, I was like, this is not healthy. You can't do this to your body. Do this too often, or you're going to get sick.
Yeah.
But there wasn't a thought in my head, not a moment where I said, "Oh, we're not getting paid for this." We get up at dark 30 in the morning.
Yeah.
And we've been doing this for a month now, and you're not, getting paid.
Yeah.
So go back to bed. That thought did not register at all in my head.
That's cool.
Until after my wife got up and she goes, "This is good for you." I was like, "I know." She goes, "You're not getting paid for this." I'm like, "We're working towards it. We're getting there."
Yeah, we are getting there.
We are. So
we had some really cool conversations with some pretty big names yesterday, and that might turn into some very lucrative partnerships.
Very excited about that. So let's get back to this Middle East thing, because with all the stuff going on in the world, here's what we need. We need things to get ratcheted up a little bit there in the Middle East. But I guess
what I find interesting is that this is something that Republicans have been harping on for years. This was one of the main talking points every presidential cycle.
Really?
Yeah, it was one of these things that it was always like, oh, we're gonna bring the embassy back to Jerusalem, and we're gonna name it the capital and all this stuff, but nobody would ever actually follow through on it.
Well, something happened, and I don't have it in the story today. It was in the story yesterday, but this was signed off on in 1965.
Yep.
And then as this thing was supposed to come to fruition, whatever was supposed to happen. Every president since that was signed has signed something else to push it back, right? And I guess what Donald Trump did is he allowed that to, what do they call that, sunset, or whatever those orders were.
Right. Yep.
He allowed those orders to sunset, so this thing that was signed in 1965 took effect.
Sure.
If I'm understanding this correctly. And the reason that every president since has not allowed this to happen is because of the tension in the Middle East, and we're trying to get peace in the Middle East. And so every president since, including Republican presidents, have felt like if they were to make that move, then you might end up sparking something. Will that happen? Hamas is calling for a days of rage today and tomorrow.
It's already been. I mean, it's been a mess.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's the ceasefire after ceasefire after ceasefire. I mean, I don't think this is really going to change much. What is odd is that we would have such an influence on it, right? Like we would, who cares where we put our embassy?
Right? Me as an American? Yeah, no, I don't care.
Well, not only that, just why would it matter to them where we decide to put our embassy?
Well,
because this is obviously between Israel and Palestine. And so.
But Israel considers Jerusalem their capital, right?
Yes.
And according to the article here, Israel is the only country where the United States has an embassy in a city that the host nation does not consider its capital. And so I think this has to do with our allegiance with Israel and backing them. They're saying, "Hey, Jerusalem is our capital."
Well, they've been such a strong ally for so long,
right? And also, this plays, because you were talking about the politics of this with the Republicans, and in the Christian base, there's a lot of support for Israel and for those kinds of moves. So politically, it benefits them as well. But his speech was greeted by demonstrations and a threat from Hamas, who called Thursday and Friday days of rage, and that he's opened the gates of hell. In Gaza, thousands flooded the streets and burned U.S. flags. Palestinian secular Islamist factions called a general strike on Thursday after tens of thousands took to the streets on Wednesday night. Israeli security forces braced for possible violence. So we'll see how this plays out over the next couple of days.
Well, and I think there's some tie-ins to Bible verses and whatnot, as Jerusalem being declared the capital of Israel.
Yeah,
I think that's kind of really where all this kind of ties together.
Yeah, people trying to fulfill prophecy and bring on the end times.
Look,
good luck with that.
When it's a slow week, I don't know about you, but I try to
bring on
fulfill
the end
prophecy. Yeah, I mean that's what I do. I mean,
are you addicted to your smartphone?
For me, that's actually debatable. I think there may be.
There's a certain addiction there.
I think there might be, yeah.
As evidenced by if it's not, or say it goes dead or you break it or something, and it's not, you don't have it for an hour or two. It's not. There'll be anxiety. There'll be an anxiety that starts to build that you're missing something, or
yeah. For me, it's initial, right? So I think there's just this initial panic, like if I don't have my phone, if I don't, or if it's not working.
It's like you can't find your crack pipe. It's the same thing.
Well, look, I mean, perfect example. When I was trying to go down, that happens all the time. But
you start to panic when you can't find your crack pipe.
But for example, when I was trying to get down to Miami for Thanksgiving, I left my home. I'd grabbed something to eat. I was ready to hit the road. I got on I-75. My phone wasn't working, and that was one of a few reasons why I decided to, I'm going to turn around, go home, and give it a shot tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, do you find yourself reaching for your phone and just unlocking it, just unlocking it and turning it on, just start flipping for no reason? Nobody's called you, nobody's texted you. You don't have something. Oh, I need to check this.
No, but I do constantly check for notifications.
About 40%. Let's see. A new survey found that British consumers admit to doing this thousands of times per year, accounting for about 40% of the times they unlock their phone. Researchers, it was an online casino company, surveyed 2,000 smartphone users across the United Kingdom, hoping to see how much their devices' checking could be attributed to being creatures of habit. Finding that the average user unlocked their phone more than 10,000 times a year, about 28 times a day, the researchers identified about 4,000 phone interactions as being compulsive, i.e., the owner had no particular act in mind when engaging. Well, this is a coping mechanism too. We talk about anxiety, and a lot of times when we bring up anxiety, a lot of people think of it in a different way. But just basically the little bit of stress that you're a little bit of anxiousness that starts to kick in. Where normally, let's say some people would twiddle their hair. Sure. Or you start kicking your leg or tapping your. I see you're bouncing over there, right? That's a little anxiety. That's just energy in the body trying to get burned off.
Right.
Well, I think it gets funneled to here too. So this is not working. So
if you're uncomfortable,
you're flipping on your phone. I think it's your brain trying to do different things to get it to zen, get it to zero.
To me, the weirdest part of this type of cell phone anxiety, mobile phone anxiety, is when, and this happened to me yesterday, but it's the phantom ringing. So typically, and people have reported this happening, where they think their cell phones were vibrating in their pants, but it's not even in their pocket.
Right.
The phone's on the desk or the phone's somewhere
else. That
else.
happens to me.
Yeah. And so yesterday was even weirder because I forgot it when I went to lunch, and I'm sitting at International Plaza having my my lunch, and I could have sworn that the table was vibrating like the way it vibrates when your phone vibrates. That kind of, you feel it in the table. I could have sworn that my phone was vibrating, yet I didn't even have my phone on me.
Phantom vibration syndrome.
Yes.
No kidding. Is the perception that one's mobile phone is vibrating or ringing when it's not. How does this happen? Other terms, ringxiety. Ringxiety. I have ringxiety. Well, it depends. But that phone will go off, and I'll all of a sudden be like, oh, God, who is it now? What do they want?
Yeah. Cords chimes in. He goes, hello, my name is Cords, and... And then Randy Taylor says, how did we ever live tethered to a wall phone?
No kidding.
Well, remember, you used to get those ridiculously long phone cables so you could drag it into your bedroom.
Yep.
Lisa Kraft says checking your phone is more socially acceptable than having a neck twitch. So
phantom ringing may be experienced while taking a shower, watching television, or using a noisy device. Humans are particularly sensitive to auditory tones between 1,000 and 6,000 hertz, and basic mobile phone ringers fall within this range. Phantom vibrations develop after carrying a cell phone set to use vibrating alerts. Researchers found that almost 9 out of 10 undergraduates enter college. So 90% of people experience this.
Yeah. Well, and what I was going to say is that after that initial shock and frustration of not having my phone, I think where I'm still okay is that I'm okay. Like, I'm like, all right, whatever.
Right.
You're
not all of a sudden in the corner with a bottle of liquor going, I don't know how to cope.
Got my pint of Ben & Jerry's out.
Well, look, the history of this thing goes back to 96 when it was called phantom pager syndrome.
Oh, weird. I wonder if it has to do with the electrical impulses from the phone vibrating or the device vibrating.
We're going to get to the causes here in a second. So the history. In the comic strip Dilbert, cartoonist Scott Adams referenced such a sensation in 1996 as phantom pager syndrome. The earliest published use of the term phantom vibration syndrome dates to 2003. All right, so causes. The cause of phantom vibration is not known. Preliminary research suggests it's related to over-involvement with one's cell phone. Vibrations typically begin occurring after carrying a phone for between 1 month and 1 year. And it has been suggested that anticipating a phone call, the cerebral cortex may misinterpret other sensory inputs such as a muscle contraction, pressure from clothing, or music as a phone vibration or ringtone. That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Because we're on edge to catch that text that comes in or that phone call that comes in, that other little things can trick the brain. So for me, all the time, I'll reach down to my pocket, sometimes with my phone in it, sometimes not, because I swear I feel it vibrating.
Sure.
And it wasn't.
Well,
or there wouldn't be something in my pocket at all.
And then even from an auditory standpoint, I mean, how often do you, as soon as you hear a phone ring, you check your phone?
Right.
Like, even if you know it's not your phone,
right, you
still check your phone.
Yeah, because you're right there. Your brain's ready to go. So it got the signal, and you went ahead and just acted.
Sure.
And then this is a good time to bring up how much free will do we actually have?
Well, that's the thing. These apps, and there's I've listened to actually a few podcasts on it, but these apps, Facebook, and Twitter, and all these, especially the social media apps, but even the shopping apps, they are all designing for addiction.
Right.
They are designing to keep your attention.
The story that you and I just did was sponsored by what? It was sponsored by an online casino or online game because they want to know more and more and more about our habits and how easy it is to get us sucked in. Just give me something with flashing lights and little gold coins going. Sit there on your phone all damn day.
Yeah. Well, Elliot says, I had a phone in my room so I could have privacy when no one called. I got one of those eventually, but
when he was a kid, when
you got your own phone line,
spoiled brat. Bet he had your own TV in your room too.
Yeah, exactly. Randy thinks any habit can do that, like pushing up your glasses when you aren't wearing them. That happens to me now because I hate the fact that I hate how my glasses look on camera.
Right.
Especially because I got this bright light in front of me. So I take off my glasses, and every once in a while, and I don't get it on camera because I'm usually off camera, but I'll go ahead and I'll do this, but I'm not even wearing my glasses.
Again, it's a nervous tick is what it is. Look, your brain is looking to get rid of some energy, and this is one little way that it does it because this movement for you that you wear glasses is something that is a calming move because if something gets slipped down your nose,
it resets you.
Yeah, it kind of resets you, and it feels right once you get it back there. It's amazing how the brain works.
Lisa Kraft says, because my work email/phone is connected to my cell phone, I've developed this unnecessary need to respond immediately to people when most of the time it could wait. And that's true. We're working 24/7 now.
Yeah. And you're trying to do it, and you're 100% right. You got something going on, the phone call comes in, you take it right then. You don't need to take it right then. You don't need to check and we do this. That's the issue we have with texting and driving.
Well, a buddy of ours, Dean Akers, who's a successful businessman here in town, he actually had a really interesting approach that kind of pulled my perceptions back on it. He goes, I don't know why everybody craps on millennials. And I go, what do you mean, Dean? I mean, there's this stereotype, right? Millennials are lazy and disinterested and that sort of thing. He goes, no. He goes, it's the complete opposite. He goes, I've hired plenty of millennials, and they are actually, if anything, harder working than anybody else on my staff. Why? Because they are constantly connected to their devices. And if I need anything, no matter what time of day, what day of the week I'm messaging them or emailing them, I know they're going to respond.
Where people from the generation before, you may or may not, because I will purposefully, put that aside or shut it off. I'll go into airplane mode.
Yep.
The airplane mode thing is not as prevalent in my life as it was before I was married.
Huh.
Because now that I'm a husband, even before I became once we were engaged and stuff like that, I'm like, I feel like if I'm going to go into airplane mode, because usually it'll be like today after the show.
Yeah.
I haven't. So when I go home, I'll walk the dogs, and then I'm going to go lay down. And I will go into airplane mode, but I'll let her know that I'm going to airplane mode because I would hate
do not disturb. That's also a good alternative.
The
difference is you'll still get your notifications and
nothing will buzz or
nothing will buzz, nothing will ring, nothing will, unless it's an emergency phone call or from certain people in your contact list,
which will be her. I'm sure she's one of those people.
If it's an emergency, I think you can set it to where if they call you more than 2 or 3 times,
I see,
it will actually go through then at that point because it'll assume that it's an emergency.
But yeah, so I'll go into airplane mode. But you're right. I bet millennials won't. Or most millennials don't.
Never.
And we sit there and bitch and moan too about millennials being on their cell phones while driving, texting and driving.
Yep.
If they're, it's not just millennials. Everybody's doing it.
Sure.
And B, if I had a choice of being sharing a road on the next lane with a millennial who is texting, or a 40 or 50-year-old who's texting.
Yeah.
Give me the millennial all day long because this is their world. They might as well be octopus.
It's within their skill set.
They might as well have 8 arms.
Yeah.
You know? They might as well be cephalopods.
Well, you know who I want to bring on the show now that you mention it is a great journalist, reporter here in town, Noah Pransky.
Okay.
He's actually working on a story right now where the legislature might be looking at a distracted driving law. And so,
which is all well and good.
Hands free, you know. Obviously it's a little more complicated for them to prove
right.
that you are. But if they see that you are not paying attention or whatever, you know, they're
trying to give them more leeway, more freedom.
You know, you could get a ticket, you know, for distracted driving. We could call it stuff you should know.
Well done, sir. Well done. This is a weird story. Scromiting? Has anybody ever heard of scromiting?
No. What is? Sounds gross.
Now, granted, this is the Daily Mail. All right.
True.
So this is the if I remember correctly, I believe this is like the British version of the Inquirer. Right. So take this for whatever it's worth. Mysterious condition dubbed scromiting hits weed smokers across the U.S. and causes them to vomit and scream.
What?
Chronic cannabis users are at risk of experiencing a horrifying new condition that is being reported at hospitals across the country. Scromiting, doctors say, is becoming an all too familiar sight at emergency rooms, with patients screaming and vomiting as they turn for help. The condition, called cannabinoid hyperemesis syndrome, is not properly understood, but medical experts believe the symptoms appear from individuals using or consuming heavy amounts of marijuana over a long period of time. Listen, I did not grow up, a lot of people who smoke weed, they started smoking weed in their, late teens or, as they got into college. I was very anti that stuff. I was very anti-drugs up until about 27, 28.
Huh.
And that's when I tried it for the first time. But weed really didn't come into my... And that's when I realized that it wasn't for me because it just made me sleepy. And then I think it's been about 6-7 years that I guess about 7 years ago is when I was on Ambien, which is bad stuff. Did try to sleep at night and came off of it and switched to weed, to marijuana. So I guess I'm probably not considered a heavy pot smoker. If you just a few puffs at night to go to sleep.
Yeah, you're not sitting there like just throwing down for 3 hours and ordering a couple pizzas.
Yeah, going through blunt after blunt after blunt.
Yeah, Funyuns.
But I've never heard of this. I've never heard of this at all. Has Snoop Dogg or Willie Nelson ever had these scromited where they're just screaming and vomiting? I don't even know if this is a real story.
It sounds like something out of like The Exorcist, or something out of, or maybe even a parody, right? Like one of these kind of parody of a horror movie where it would just be hilarious.
Right. So Dr. Amy Mullen, an emergency room physician at UC Davis Medical Center in Sacramento, said she's seen a rise in cases since California legalized recreational marijuana last November. She expects to see... Is this from the anti-marijuana lobby? Is that what it is? Is this fake? Is this fake news?
Yeah, Chris Brown says it's fake news.
Yeah.
Hashtag fake news.
I've screamed out for death, said a Chalfonte Queen, 48, after experiencing a terrifying illness. I've cried out for my mom, who's been dead for 20 years, mentally not realizing she can't come to me, unquote. Little research has been conducted on the topic, but one study found that for scromiting to occur, cannabis users would have to consume marijuana 3 to 5 times per day to develop this. In one study, the average duration of cannabis use prior to onset of recurrent vomit was 3.4 years. So if you're smoking three or four blunts a day, and for 4 years, they're saying this is when this can kick in.
Huh. But
again, I've never heard Willie Nelson or Woody Harrelson or Snoop Dogg ever talk about scromiting. And all my favorite rap songs of all time, when they start talking about puffing and passing, I've never heard them go puff, puff, pass, scrom it.
Not at once.
The syndrome was first described in 2004 by Allen and colleagues and is characterized by chronic cannabis use, cyclic episodes of nausea and vomiting, and the learned behavior of hot bathing. What?
I'm with you. I'm thinking this is a scare tactic.
I think so. Don't buy into it, people.
Hot bathing.
I don't even know what that is. Another cool story this morning. Well, all the stories that have come out in the last 2 years, I think, concerning AI. Every single one of them is a cool story.
Yeah. Fascinating.
Slash scary.
Because this used to be science fiction for us. I mean, this used to be something that we didn't ever expect to see in our lifetime. It was something we saw in movies. And now it's very much real.
John, it wasn't that long ago that I'm sitting there on my couch watching Discovery Channel or Science Channel, whichever one it was.
Yeah.
And watching this whole hour-long show on robotics and how they couldn't figure out at the time. So this was like 05-ish, 06 maybe.
Yeah.
They couldn't figure out how to get these robots bipedal. We couldn't get robots to walk, on 2 feet.
Yeah.
And now, yesterday I'm clicking through and I see some demonstration of a robot. He's balancing, he's jumping around, doing karate kicks.
Doing backflips.
Yeah. And so we've come a long way, but artificial intelligence can soon create a false reality indistinguishable from the real one. Suggests new advancements in graphics manipulation, which serves as a warning to humanity. This doesn't surprise me at all.
No, well, we've already seen this. If you look up, there's already technology where they can take a video, let's say, of President Trump or Putin or anybody, and they can actually manipulate it to where they can change what they're actually saying.
Jeez.
And they even have the vocal...
fake news.
Yeah, they can.
So that's not really Trump saying.
They can change the voice, and they can change. So it looks like they're saying something that they never actually said.
So every time that we see Trump saying fake news, that's fake news. It's not real.
If only.
The graphics firm NVIDIA recently released the results of its image-to-image translation, which can take an outdoors photo taken in the winter and transform it into the same scene, but in the summer, as you can see on the screen here. And that's just all AI. We present high-quality image translation results on various challenging, unsupervised image. And listen, this is just the simple stuff here, because when you start,
this is building the Matrix. This is really what's happening. Because
we're already in it. I think this is what it is, John. By the way, I think we're already in it. And all of this is getting our psyches trained to wake up. We're getting ready to come to, and we all have things that stuck in the back of our heads, and so they're programming it, going, "Hey, this is all stuff." So we're not as freaked out when we come to, and you know where we're going to be? Somewhere between galaxies. This is what I think is happening. The AIA thing is over. We're laying in beds right now.
Yeah.
They're
just easing into us this to making us aware of it.
Well, because we've been in between galaxies now for who knows how long. Thousands of years.
So how long were you on this InfoWars website?
And so we're getting ready to get to our new home planet.
Oh.
So that's why all these stories are coming up, and we're now being able to visualize all this crazy stuff, because here, shortly, we're all going to start waking up on our pods.
So at what point do we meet Zorlok?
I'm not. That's deeper into the InfoWars website. I'll have to do some more research on that.
I'll tell you what is scary to me is I think it's Boston Robotics. I think is the name of the company or something like that. It's basically one of the leading robotic companies in the country. They're the ones who have the video going viral right now of this robot doing backflips and landing them perfectly. In addition to making those creepy dog-looking robots. Have you seen those? Oh, man, those are scary.
They're all creepy. Have you seen those sex dolls? Those sex robots?
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
they're just not as threatening, but yes.
Well, they're still creepy. That's my point. They're still creepy.
If I had some machine that was the size of a Great Dane chasing me.
That's true.
That's a little bit scary.
Oh, no, I haven't seen that. No, I have not seen that.
Oh,
what you're talking about.
Let me see if I can find it.
Okay. All right. Enough of that then. Enough of the AI scare. We'll go back in time now. We'll go back in time. Ancient human ancestor Littlefoot makes his public debut. Out of South Africa, the cradle of humankind, an expanse of farmland and rolling hills outside of Johannesburg has already unlocked some of the great mysteries of evolution. The unveiling of a near-complete fossil hominid skeleton dating back 3.67 million years will only solidify the importance of the region. When do you look at us, how old do you say humans are? Are you in the category of because allegedly somewhere around 200,000 years ago, this is where the modern humans split off, I guess from, Neanderthal and what else, the other one that was out there. So some say humans, as we know them today, are only 200,000 years old. But man, I feel like human, maybe modern human, but I feel like humans, as soon as we stood up and started walking, and that took,
yeah,
I feel like that's when human, kind began, even though those are all considered hominids.
Cro-Magnons or whatever was around that area. I think once we started like hunting and able to
tool making,
right, that sort of thing, creating your own shelter.
But other animals do that. Other animals create their own shelter. Eagles will make a nest that are 1,000 pounds, which is insane. But think about the architecture there. They'll put in a tree a nest that can weigh up to 1,000 pounds.
Sure.
And it stays perfectly.
And
using tools.
You could also dismiss it even by communication, right? Because animals communicate with each other.
Right.
So you can't really say that communication is that turning point.
And to your tool thing, we see animals using tools as well. We see otters using rocks to crush oysters. We see fish moving things around. You see,
to create, right?
Yeah, a bird will grab a twig, stick it into a hole because they know that little
ants,
stuff
bugs
will start crawling on it and pull it back out and use it. So those animals all use. That's why I say. I mean, not what distinguishes us, but that's why because nothing else stood up and walked on 2 feet, as far as we know.
Empathy, maybe empathy.
Oh, what really separates us from other animals? Is that what you're going?
Because you see that in dogs and elephants and
that's right.
Like animals do show empathy.
Yeah. So Littlefoot is the oldest fossil hominid skeleton ever found in southern Africa. The fossil skeleton takes its name from the small foot bones discovered by scientist Ron Clark in 1994 when he was sorting through bones in boxes. Even then, Clark surmised that the fossilized bones came from an Australopithecus. I think I got close to that one species. The smallish ape-like human ancestors that roamed this part of Africa millions of years ago.
Lisa says she has a family of raccoons that live in her backyard, and they hollowed out one of her trees to make their home.
See, now one of the things you can say about humans is we've perfected the manipulation of our own environment to fit our needs.
Survival, yes.
We're spread out. Humans are everywhere around the world, and that's because we can manipulate. It's not when things change, we don't necessarily have to move to a new climate.
Yeah,
we can adapt ourselves and manipulate our own climate or area environment to suit our needs. Let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Where do you put your money? Where do you put your money? Things go to some plague. Something happens. Humanity is wiped out.
Yeah.
And so now we just have millions and millions and millions of years for something else to evolve and take over that the spot of supreme species on the planet.
Yeah.
Who's your money on? And I'll tell you why I bring it up. When you said raccoon, I think raccoon is a good one. I also like while you're thinking about it, because I've pondered this one before.
Yeah.
So I'll go ahead and walk you through my thought process while you're contemplating who'd you have your money on. That then evolves to fill our niche, and is extremely, because raccoons are very clever. I could see them doing something. Also rats, though, because rats have been following us around. So we used to be rodents ourselves.
Sure.
And so all of a sudden, if all humans were wiped off the planet, I can see the rat going, all right, it's our time to step up. Next thing you know, giant rats or whatever comes from it, 20 million years from now, 40 million years from now. But here's where I like to put my money on those animals that are on the fringes. They're in the water and out of the water. So like the beaver, the otter, but my favorite, the penguin. The penguin. Here's what I'm thinking. Those poor bastards. I don't know what they did to F with the gods back in the day, but they've been sent to the South Pole and to learn some lesson. And then after there's going to be shifts again, sometime the next however many millions of years, and humanity's wiped out, I think the penguin is going to take over the planet. That's where I'm putting my money.
Well, there's penguins in Africa. I mean, there's
Southern Africa.
But
you're a penguin. Sorry, I don't know where that came from. So where you got your money?
God, I still say the chimps. I say primates. I think they can also adapt. I mean, I think they're also able to you find them all over the world in all kinds of variations. I think that obviously it's kind of an easy answer, obviously, because there's such a close association between us and them.
It's already happened out of the primate family or whatever that is.
Yeah, I mean, for some people, right? That's that they've put those kind of evolutionary steps together. I mean, they seem to me like that have the most well-rounded skill set to kind of be the apex of a post-human society.
If it's going to be some primate, then I want it to be a lemur. not those chimp, not any of our close cousins, the chimp or the gorilla. I want it to be a lemur. Everybody knows what a lemur is, right? The Madagascar, those lemurs. Well, those things get about like 3 feet.
King Julian.
Yeah, 2 or 3 feet high or something like that. They're really cool too when you're watching them walk around. And but did you know that there used to be lemurs not that long ago that were like the size of gorillas, like 6 foot?
No.
Yeah, hundreds of pounds.
Oh, weird.
Well, guess what happened? We found them when we first got to Madagascar. You think about it because you're like, man, us humans, man, we'll go and just wipe out anything. But you got to remember where you are in those times, and because those things got wiped out, I don't know, a couple hundred years ago.
Sure.
But when you're first coming into an island like that, you get lush, you can see there's fruit, there's places to plant stuff. Another place that you can inhabit. But then you got a creature that's your size that you have to deal with.
Right.
It's game on, and humans been winning that battle for quite some time.
Well, John Sweeney says, please, we all know that the one to survive will be Keith Richards.
Good one. Good one.
He also says some people are still rats. And then Randy and Elliot have close answers, but Elliot says, aren't humans the only animals that have abstract thought? We don't know that for sure, but that's what we tend to believe. Another
fascinating animal is the octopus or the cephalopods, the octopus, squid, and cuttlefish. They are extremely intelligent.
Yeah. And then Randy seems to think it's the awareness of our own mortality that makes us once we became aware of our own mortality, that maybe that was that's
the game changer.
Yeah.
I think there is a lot of truth to that. I wonder if there's any other animal that has any kind of awareness at all about, like they see one of their kind getting mauled or something. Does it register for 1 second that's going to be me one day?
Okay, so I have 2 examples of this thanks to the interwebs, and so one of them is the monkey, and I believe this was in India, that fell on the train tracks and was electrocuted. And then the other monkey came and revived him, like right there on the train tracks. You haven't seen that video?
No!
Oh, I'll find it for you.
CPR? What are you talking?
Oh, yeah.
Get the F out.
I swear to God. And it's the most fascinating and tear-jerking video you'll see. He actually saves.
What's he do, just come and start hitting?
Oh, he started pounding on him. Yeah, absolutely. And then the other one is the videos you see of dogs saving other dogs in precarious situations. And so... floods and things like that.
A kid, a boy, like a 4 or 5 year old boy, fell into a compound over in Europe, or a habitat of gorillas, and I guess there were some juvenile, what you would consider your teenage gorillas. They're all ready to rip this kid apart. That's all.
Sure.
But the big main alpha gorilla comes flying out of nowhere, backs them all off. And then grabs the little boy, takes the little boy, and walks him gently over to the door where he knew the zookeepers would be coming in, and handed the kid over. That stuff just blows my mind.
Yeah, Lisa agrees. She goes, my vote. Oh, no. Lisa says, my vote is some sort of bird because they can transport between climates, build shelters, and feed themselves.
No, well, they've already had their chance, all right? The birds already had their chance. They had their rise after, for the last 65 million years, and they've chose their path.
Yeah. So I've sent you 2 links. One is the Boston Dynamics one, which is creepy as hell.
Okay.
And then the one I just sent you is the monkey who saves his friend after being electrocuted.
Yeah, let's get that instead of Al Franken. Al Franken's going to resign today.
You want to go live during that? That'd be really fun to rib on.
Is he doing that at 10?
3.
Oh, he's doing that 3?
This afternoon.
Okay.
So that way you can get a nap in.
You better believe it. What am I doing? Oh, I'm going to Facebook here. and Messenger. It's getting a little chilly. Good morning and welcome to the Wake.Show once again.
We're just trying to keep you awake over here.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us and for sharing. Let's go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, we really appreciate it. I mean, we've been hitting phenomenal numbers. Our Facebook page is growing faster than we could have imagined. We are having a lot of people, not only in the community notice, but you were telling me we've had some colleagues in the broadcasting industry take notice of what we're doing here, and that's always even more exciting for us, right? So here his friend has been electrocuted and fell into this kind of crevice between the tracks. Yeah, you don't need the audio. You can keep it on just a little low in the background. So first he has to get his friend out of that hole there, because you see it's raised above the ground. I don't know how long the video is, but yeah, you might.
Let me.
So these are electrified train cars, like a subway system. And there you can see the other monkey's lifeless. Now I know this is a little hard to watch, but what's fascinating is watching everything that he tries to revive his friend.
And does he do it in the end?
Oh, he does. Yeah.
Get out! This isn't. I shouldn't have asked.
Oh, I know it kind of ruins the ending, but. So still nothing. He's leaned him over the thing. He's bit him on the neck. He's basically trying to get a response out of him.
That is something else.
Calling for help. Trying to. He's assessing the situation there. He even throws him in the water. See, so there's like a puddle there. And he throws him in the water, thinking that maybe throwing him in the water, and there he is. So if you go back a little bit, you kind of miss the conclusion there.
Yeah, that is hard to watch.
Is that the way it's edited?
Yeah, I didn't do that.
But
he's still trying to make sure that.
Well, he's just making sure he's okay now. But there is the monkey that he just brought back to life.
And and these are monkeys, not even apes, in the category that we're in.
And these are wild. These are wild monkeys who, it's not like they would have trained them to do this.
Right. It's amazing what they learn too. You just saw a story not too long ago about these monkeys somewhere in the world that steal people's food. Right. They love. I can't remember what it was. I want to say it's like some pepper or something. Yeah. That is. That burns. I can't remember exactly. It's not good for them. It either burns them or it does something to their intestines or something like that. Yeah. But what they've learned, the point of this is they've learned to eat charcoal.
Okay.
And that calms their stomach or whatever. So they can go eat this people food that doesn't agree with them, but that they love, and then they eat this charcoal because they know
an antacid.
Yeah.
It's like dogs and grass. We were talking about the other day. The problem is that most of our grass is now fertilized. And so,
that makes it worse.
It ends up making it worse. But again, if you want to get creeped out, go ahead and pull up that Boston Dynamics link that I sent you, and that thing will creep you the hell out.
Have you ever seen
talking about AI?
Have you ever seen?
Well, that's not really AI. That's robotics. I mean, AI and robotics are two different things. But just looking at these things creeps me out.
Here
Look
we
at
go.
that.
Yeah.
Imagine one of those things chasing you.
It's unnerving. This is the one that does a flip too, right?
One of these does. Those are the ones that creep me out the most. The ones that look like dogs.
That's insane. Don't have the backflip video though.
But right now, the one where he does the backflip and stuff, or the one where, have you seen the one where they have the stick with the tennis ball at the end of it, and the guy's just basically pushing him and shoving him with the stick, kind of like a little bit of fighting.
He won't push down. He won't fall down. Won't push down.
Yeah. That's how you piss him off.
See,
that's how it all begins.
What the hell is that?
Watch a little He-Man?
I guess that's a commercial. All right, there.
Oh, it's probably a Geico commercial or Progressive or something like that.
It's the Wake.Show Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 here at Facebook.com/the Wake.Show. All right, here you go. Here we go. This is it.
Oh.
That's insane.
Oh, go back one time so I can. There we go.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
You
know how long it took me to learn that? I did gymnastics in high school, dude. It took me like 2 years to get that.
I've never been able to do something like that. And like I said, just 10 years ago, I'm watching shows on how we can't figure out, and they were showing a clip, some of you may remember this, but one of the robotic clips out there was the lower half. So it would just be legs in a, kind of a whatever, something, a half a torso. And it's connected actually to a bar and it's trying to run around in circles. Oh. And we couldn't even get that done. That was just 10 and 12 years ago.
Sure.
And how far we've come there.
Look, there he is, jumping on boxes and stuff. And
that is just...
again, I've done gymnastics. Like, there's an incredible amount of technique that goes into being able to do this. To get something that this thing is... You got to imagine this thing's probably about 300 pounds, if not more. And for him to do a perfect backflip like that is crazy.
I don't believe it. I think this is CGI.
I think it's very real. I think we will start to see these robots. We'll see these robots start to become a part of our military. I'd say probably in about 15 years.
That's incredible.
They'll start to use them to carry stuff, as transport support.
All right, we were talking about the beginning of the show here about ending the show with some John Mayer.
Oh,
if you want to. I know we're a little bit early, but I am definitely
crashing.
I ran out of steam at 5 o'clock this morning. I ran out of steam before steam had a chance to build. Unless you got anything else. Tomorrow we have Rue coming in. Rue is bringing in food tomorrow.
Oh,
Chef
yeah.
Ricky P. Parsons.
Oh man.
And I'm sorry that he's a celebrity. He's famous in the area. I guess anyway, when I brought him up at Boulevard Burgers Tuesday night, he was talking about whatever. Yeah. And like everybody there knew who, Ricky P was.
Well, his Cajun place over just north of downtown. I mean, that place was there for a long time.
And I don't even remember it. I worked on 4th Street for years, and I don't remember passing
that place was an institution. I had a couple meetings there. I don't think I ever ate there, which is unfortunate, but I was there a couple times for meetings, and it was always packed. Always seemed like everybody was having a good time. It's really unfortunate. Again, it's one of these things that I struggle with as a capitalist, because the gentrification that's happening right now in St. Pete is phenomenal. It's exciting, right? But you're also pushing out a lot of these businesses that have been there for decades.
Yep.
A lot of these mom and pop businesses are getting pushed out by, investors and people from out of town and all these that see the dollar signs.
Right. So I guess Creole and Cajun food is just not something that's really on my, that I'm searching out unless I'm in, Louisiana. That's probably why I never registered.
Well, Capote's asking what time he should come by tomorrow.
I'm not sure yet what time they're going to come by. We got the comedian coming by from the Improv tomorrow as well. He'll be by, I think, 8:30. That's Paul Mercurio.
Dude, I was watching his stuff last night on YouTube. It was funny, good stuff.
Yeah, because he was booking his own. This wasn't a phone call from the Improv. He called me directly. The guy got my number through Ed, who we had on earlier, Ed Gruby. And he's like, yeah, I hear you have a fascinating new show. That's not the term he used. I'm sure that's not what he said. I hear you have a great new show that I need to be a part of, I think is literally what came out of his mouth.
Hey, that's not bad either. I'll take it.
But I had never, I hadn't heard of him. And so I go look him up and I was like, holy crap, the guy, was on The Daily Show.
Yeah.
A long list of things.
Yeah, he's been on all the big Comedy Central comedy specials. So Gotham, the Gotham Comedy Club or Gotham Comedy, he's done a bunch of hits on Comedy Central. He was also I didn't realize, I guess he was a regular on a show that I liked. Didn't get to watch often because it came on like at 3 o'clock in the morning, but was Red Eye on Fox News Channel.
Oh, okay.
Back when I used to watch Fox News Channel, there was this show that was, I'd say it was geared towards a younger audience.
Yeah, I remember tuning in. And
Greg Gutfeld and Andy Levy and those guys. And he, I guess, was a regular on that show. And there's outtakes and different segments that he did on that show. And I'm really looking forward to it. He seems like a really funny guy.
So he's coming by tomorrow at 8:30. All right, sir. Let's do this right. Let's do this right. I'll pull up the screen, too, so you got a full screen now. There we
Let's see.
Thank you so much for watching and streaming live.
It's my idol right here.
The Wake.Show, Facebook.com/The Wake.Show.
We got the afternoon. You got this room for two. One thing I've left to do. Discover me, discovering you. 1 mile to every inch of your skin like porcelain. One pair of candy lips and your bubblegum tongue. Yeah. And if you want love, we'll make it. Swim in a deep sea of blankets. Take all your big plans and break them. This is bound to be a while. Your body is a wonderland. Your body is a wonder. I'll use my hands. Hey now, your body is a wonderland.
That's sexual harassment, John.
Something about the way the hair falls in your face. I love the shape you take when crawling towards the pillowcase. You tell me where to go, and though I might leave to find it, I'll never let your head hit the bed without my hand behind it. You want love, we'll make it. That's a pimp line, by the way. You're in the deep sea of blankets. Take all your big plans and break them. This is bound to be a while. Your body is a wonderland. Your body is a wonder. I use my hands. Your body is a wonderland.
Now, here comes the rapey part. Damn, baby, you frustrate me.
Damn, baby. Oh, right into the camera. You frustrate me. I know you're mine, all mine, all mine. But you look so good it hurts sometimes.
It's frustrating that she looks too good. Is that what he's trying to say? You're so
Too
hot.
good.
You're so hot that it frustrates me.
Oh, it's frustrating. Agonizing.
Great job, and thank you so much, Jonny Torres, and everybody here at Bake More Pies. Thank you so much for tuning in again today. Let everybody know. Share, like. And it is the Facebook.com/thewake.show. Have a great day.